All right, everyone, welcome to the 187 District Court. These are the rules of the 187 District Court. You are in a courtroom. You need to behave as though you're in a courtroom. Whatever you could not do if you were physically in the courtroom, you cannot do on this Zoom screen. To all of the inmates, you're not allowed to use your chat box. If you use the chat box, you will be sent back to your cell and your case will be recalled for another date. The other thing you're not allowed to do, you're not allowed to use this as a chance to pick up dates. If you use your chat box to do that, you will be sent back. To all attorneys, just bear with us today. Put some patience in your pocket. Today is Tuesday. Let's keep it a Tuesday. Let's not try to turn it into a Monday. We have a jury trial that's actually going to begin at 10. You are not excused unless I excuse you. Please do not contact the court coordinator, Ms. Ferguson, asking if you can be excused. I'm the only person who can do that. If your case is not taken care of or heard this morning, you will be called back for the afternoon. To all the attorneys, the prosecutors have the ability to move throughout the breakout rooms. When I send you to a breakout room, consider it like you're at the doctor's office. That means that you are waiting. When you get called to the back by the nurse, you're not seeing the doctor right away. They're just checking your weight and your blood pressure. I'm going to create the breakout rooms. When I open them, it will invite you to a room. Do not, I repeat, do not go to a breakout room unless I specifically call your name and send you to that breakout room. To all attorneys, if you have an agreement with the state, no matter how small, you need to put that in the chat box to the court coordinator. She's listed as Ferguson coordinator. If there is an agreement, you will also need to send your client's email address if your client is on bond. I'm going to call the names of the attorneys. That's the order in which you will appear. People who are on this screen who are defendants or accused of an offense, please listen to this closely. Your name will not be called. Your attorney's name will be called. If your attorney wants you in a breakout room, your attorney will specifically ask for you to go to a breakout room. So please do not raise your hand and say, my attorney's name was not called, because what that means is your attorney is presently not on the Zoom screen. They're probably Zooming in another courtroom. You will get a chance to meet with your attorney. Please do not raise your hand and say, may I go to the breakout room, or was I supposed to go in that breakout room? Because my response is going to be, was your name called or were you requested to go to the breakout room? So attorneys, I'm going to call your name. This is the order in which you'll appear. Robert Maurer, Scott Simpson, Albert Gutierrez, David Collins, Jason Nitz, Linda Corley, Ken Baker, Patricia Vera, Glenn Payne, James Toshi. Is there any other attorney's name who's on the screen that I have not called?
Your Honor, did you mean Scott Simpson or Scott Simpkins?
I'm sorry, Scott Simpkins.
And Eric DeWalt.
Eric DeWalt. Anyone else?
Ling Han.
I'm sorry. Yes. Anyone else? All right, attorneys, when I call your name, I need the name of your client and whether or not it's criminal trial division or family violence. Robert Maurer.
Judge, I have Devonta Hemphill. It's a CTD case and I've been conferring with Hunter if he's available.
Yes. I'll send you to breakout room number 2.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Scott Simpkins.
Your Honor, Patrick Cannell is my client. I've also been conferring with Hunter on this one. It's CTD, and I believe we have an agreement.
What is your client's last name? How do you spell it?
Cannell, C-A-N-E-L.
I'll see you to breakout room number 3.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Albert Gutierrez.
Good morning, Your Honor. Albert Gutierrez for Christopher Barbosa, CTD. I have not conferred with anybody, although I am scheduled to appear live in the 227th, Your Honor, here in just a few moments, just letting you know.
All right. And it's, so you're at the courthouse and you realize we have no AC still.
I've got my fan going, Judge. But they're requiring me to come, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, we have no
hot.
AC.
I didn't realize that. I just realized I was hot. Yes.
I'll send you to breakout room number 4.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. David Collins,
Morning, Judge.
good morning. Who do you have?
Well, it's an interesting one, Judge. I have from the county, I have the name Stephanie Hernandez, but then I also have Melissa Sanchez, all under the same cause number. So I don't
Well,
know
she
if it's
probably has
APA
two names.
or if it's just, Happy Tuesday, Dave. I don't know, Judge.
All right, so you say Melissa Sanchez, and what's the other name?
Stephanie Hernandez. They're both under the same cause number. It's a MTR. The MTR is filed under Melissa Sanchez under that cause number. But
All
like I
right,
said,
I'll send you to breakout room number 5.
maybe we can figure it out with the DA.
Judge, I send you a chat.
All right, just give me a moment.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, we're gonna have to reset your case, Mr. Collins. And Ms. Ferguson, can you tell me whether or not Stephanie Sanchez and Melissa Sanchez are one and the same people?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, it's Melissa Hernandez, Judge. Or it's Stephanie Hernandez, Melissa Sanchez. Those are the 2 names, sorry.
Okay. Ms. Sanchez is unable to be with us today. Mr. Collins, I'm gonna put the reason why in the chat box for you. And the state is already aware.
Is Miss Hernandez available?
All right, Norma, can you give them a reset, please?
Yes, ma'am. Give me 1 second.
And Mr. Collins, I've put the reason in the chat box for you.
I did. I saw it. Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome.
So I'll just wait for a reset notice then.
Yes, just give us a moment.
Okay.
Judge, she's the same person.
I'm sorry, what?
It's the same person, Hernandez.
All right. All right, thank you. And we will get a date for you.
Thank you, Judge.
They can come back on the 29th.
All right, we'll see you back on June 29th.
Okay, Judge. I have some CPS in the morning, but I'll be there.
All right, thank you.
Yeah,
Have a
be
good
excused.
rest of your day.
You too, Judge. Happy Tuesday. Bye, everyone.
All right, thank you. Jason Nitz.
Marcos Faradin, and I need to speak with someone in CTD.
You said Marcos,
Yes.
and how do you spell the last name?
Ferdin.
All right. And your client is in the courtroom. I'm going to send you to breakout room number 6. Linda Corley.
Good morning, Your Honor. I have Gonzalo Casas, and I believe it's CTD.
All right, I'm going to send you to breakout room number 7. And thank you for making Tuesday even much better by already putting the name in.
Thank you.
All right. Ken Baker.
Good morning, Judge. I have one Zepeda, and he's family violence.
Okay.
I don't know how to change the name, otherwise I would
Oh, I appreciate it. It's the thought. You know what? People say it's the thought that counts.
have.
All right, I'm going to send you to breakout room number 8.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Pat, you're up next.
Good morning, Judge. I have Ramiro Cervantes. I just found out how to change my name.
Oh, thank you.
It's CTD, and I've been conferring with Marcus Sanders.
All right, I'll send you to number 9.
Thank you, Judge.
To all the guys, the women appear to be changing all of their screen names. I'm just throwing that out there just to throw it out there. Glenn Payne,
Good morning, Judge. I have Jace Meager. He's in custody.
Okay.
I need to confer with somebody. CTD.
All right, I'm gonna send you to breakout room number 10. James Toshi.
Judge Boyd, good morning. I've been conferring with Rob, your clerk, who's going to bring you a file. If you could kindly set a bond. I'm here in.
What's your client's name?
Genevieve Ramirez, Judge. I have conferred with the state. Not that we have an agreed recommendation, so I'm off docket, and I apologize for that. But he will bring you the file.
All right, if it's an agreed recommendation, if you all will send me the email and I will sign it.
We've already done that, Judge. I know you're in trial, so you got a lot going on.
Oh, let me just check the email. Just give me a moment.
Yes, ma'am.
And I do have the file. Oh, thank you for the fans.
Yes, Used to come from Central Jersey.
Oh, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much. All right, I don't see the email. What is the agreement? And what I have is I have Genevieve Renee Ramirez.
That's her, Judge. The agreed recommendation is $5,000.
Is there any other conditions or no?
No, ma'am. It's state jail, marijuana, technical violations.
I don't see 8,000. The number I see is.
All right, as soon as she presents herself, the clerks will put it in the system.
Thank you, Judge, so much.
All right, thank you. If you don't have anyone else with us, you're excused.
Thank you.
All right, Eric DeWalt.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Yes.
Good morning, Your Honor. I have
Good morning.
Amethyst Garcia.
I'm sorry, what's the first name?
Amethyst.
And is it criminal trial division or family violence?
Criminal Trial Division. I've been dealing with Tom Nesbitt.
All right, I'll send you to breakout room number 11.
Thank you.
Lynn Hahn.
Morning, Judge.
Good morning. Who do you have?
I have Eduardo Mercado. It's PD. We're for me to get in contact with him.
Okay, you're going in and out on me with your audio. What did you say?
I have Eduardo Mercado with CPD.
All right, I'm going to send you to breakout room number 12.
Okay. Judge, I just want you to know that I have still not been able to get in contact with him.
All right, is there a Eduardo Mercado on the screen? All right, just give us a moment. We'll call your case. Shannon Locke.
Morning, Your Honor. I have Ian Stewart. And I'm a guy that changed his name. I changed my name.
I appreciate that. Shannon, I'm giving you, if I could give you kudos for that, well, I guess I could. I just did. I'm going to see you to breakout room number 12.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Joanne Eckel.
Good morning, Judge. I have Christopher Mendez Clark. He should be in custody.
All right, I'm just trying to find you on the screen.
Shall I wave?
Just 1 second. You may be on another page. Just give me a second. There you are. Okay, what is the name again?
Christopher Mendez Clark.
And is it CTD or criminal trial division?
Family violence, Judge.
All right, I'm sending you to lucky breakout room number 13.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. Dave McClain.
Good morning, Judge. How are you?
Great. How are you doing today?
I am good. I have Mr. Robert Hernandez this morning.
All right. Is it criminal trial division or family violence?
It's criminal trial possession case.
All right. I'm going to send you to breakout room number 14.
Thank you, Judge.
All right. Kenneth Baker, you're back.
Yes, Judge, we've conferred. I need to meet with my client, Juan Zepeda, in a breakout room. This is a case where he already pled true and FTA'd at sentencing on an MTR.
All right, Mr. Zepeda, I'm going to send you on breakout room number 8. I'm sorry, number 9. And Kenneth Baker, if you'll go back to 9, please.
Will do, Judge.
No, strike that. I'm so sorry. You're both in 8.
Okay, thank you.
And Mr. Zepeda, if you'll go to 8. And I got to get used to the vision on this screen and the reflection from my eyeglasses. All right, anyone else back from breakout rooms? All right, everyone, just give me a moment.
No, it's blowing right behind me. And it's right behind me. Yeah, that part won't work. Okay.
Let me see. That's funny. You know, I used to always read the comics in the morning.
I do.
Yeah, I love the comics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Social commentary at the pithy.
Yeah. And Lynn Hanna, as soon as we have a prosecutor available, we'll take up your matter.
Judge.
You're welcome.
Is it just an FTA, Judge?
Yes.
I'm here if you need me.
Okay, thank you so much.
Welcome.
Let me pull that case up. And Lynn Hahn, sorry, that's me. Lynn Hahn, what is your client's name again, please?
Eduardo Mercado.
All right, our party's ready. Court is calling 2021 CR 2988, State of Texas versus Eduardo Mercado. Can I have parties announced for the record, please, for the state?
Joe Ray Garcia for the state.
For the defense?
Ling Han for defense.
All right, we're proceeding by video because of the pandemic. Any objections from the state or the defense?
No, Your Honor.
No objection, Your Honor.
Right. For the record, this hearing was scheduled at 9 a.m. It is now 9:26 a.m. The defendant, Eduardo Mercado, has not been on the Zoom screen. Deputy Laura, has there been an Eduardo Mercado in the courtroom?
No, Your Honor, he has not.
And the court will note for the record that on May 18th, this case was called and the defendant was a no-show, and the court allowed for a recall for today. Defense, have you had any contact with your client?
I have had no contact.
State?
State requests that his bond be forfeited and a warrant be issued.
All right, that'll be granted. I'll remand your client without bond. Of course, if you're able to get in touch with your client, let the court know, and I'll reconsider once your client presents himself.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, thank you. You're excused. Have a great rest of your Friday.
Thank you. You too.
Hey, bye-bye. Excuse me, do you have a sticky note? Does anyone have? Brenda, do you have? Yes, please. I left them all in the back. I've got it used to being out
I need to go
here.
to that closet and get some supplies.
Yeah. All right, is anyone else back from the breakout rooms?
Yes, Your Honor, Eric DeWalt.
Yes.
Your Honor, may I get in a breakout room with my client? But I was wondering if we could get a reset from there. Tom Nesbitt offered application for a PTD that I'd like to take.
All right, is your client going to accept that?
I believe so. Can I go into a breakout room to discuss it with her?
Yes. Miss Amethyst Garcia. Morning. I'm going to send you to a breakout room with your attorney. What breakout room were you in, Mr. DeWalt? I believe it was 11.
11, yes, Your Honor.
All right, and then once you come back and let me know whether your client accepts it, I'll consider your reset.
Fantastic. Thank you, Judge.
All right, Albert Gutierrez.
Good morning again, Your Honor. I conferred with Marcus Sanders. The state is not prepared to make an offer this morning. So we would like a regular reset if that's okay. And like I told the judge, I'm about to start in the 227.
All right, it's Christopher Barbosa.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Norma, can you give them a regular reset? And then when we come back at the next setting, the state should be prepared to make you an offer.
That's fine, Your Honor. Thank you. May I be excused?
Oh, no, we need to give you the date.
Give me 1 second.
Okay.
They can come
Slow
back
down, Albert.
July 13th.
July 13th.
All right, we'll see you on July 13th. Mr. Barbosa, your attorney has to be in another court, but we're going to bring you back on July 13th, and I'm sure your attorney will meet with you before the next court date. Give me a thumbs up if you understand, Mr. Barbosa. All right, thank you. Norma, can you let them know that L2 can go back? And Mr. Gutierrez, you're excused.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a good day.
Thank you, you too. Let's see. Shannon Locke.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
So we've returned from the breakout room. I was with Meredith
Yes.
regarding Ian Stewart. So Mr. Stewart, he had a scram appointment and he couldn't make that scram appointment for his, he had a family emergency. He was taking care of his niece. I contacted probation. We contacted probation, tried to get another appointment. They said, look, you missed your first one. So essentially tough luck. So we filed the motion to modify to extend the deadline. He's ready to put on the scram. We'll put on the scram as soon as we can, but they're telling him that since he missed his appointment, he can't, they won't reschedule with him, is my understanding.
Just give me a moment.
Sure.
Has your client case been indicted?
I don't think so. And when I checked bear.org this morning, it has not, Judge.
All right, so are you on today's docket?
I think I was put on today's docket. We filed the motion to modify, and I believe that we got put on today's docket.
Judge, it's,
All
an
right, let me-
updated, Judge, it's an updated letter from pretrial services that you wanted me to put on for today.
All right, let me see if I can find the letter from pretrial services.
You had it in the back office inside your files, Judge.
All right, everyone, just give me a moment while I go obtain this document.
Judge, I can email it to you.
Okay, I am back. Robert has the document for me. So what I have is, all right, so he's supposed to be on Scram, is that correct? Or is what's going on?
He is supposed to be on Scram, yes, Your Honor.
All right, so what's the issue?
So he missed his appointment, and essentially he had a family emergency, missed his appointment. We contacted pretrial, asked them for another appointment, and they said, look, you've missed your first appointment. Notified the court. We're just asking for, he's ready to put that Scram device on as soon as the court, but because he can't get another appointment through pretrial because they're telling him that he missed the appointment.
All right, well, what I've done is I put the date on here, and I'm ordering that he is, I think this is an old letter. This is from May 18th. Am I receiving a pretrial services letter from May 18th? And we are in June. Is there another pretrial services letter that I'm unaware of? Because this is all I have from May 18th.
Let me look, Judge.
So you're saying he said it was broken
And I think
down?
this problem will be solved very quickly.
So there was I believe there's a May 18th, Judge, but I think there's also a June 2nd, because I think that there was an issue with him putting the interlock device on, and the response to that was to get the Scram, and he didn't get that appointment done. And so we're asking, because that happened, we're asking for a new date to put the device on.
All right, as soon as I receive the June 2nd date, I will do it.
Correct.
All right, and Mr. Simpkins, you're looking for Mr. Canal, is that correct?
He got sent into the breakout room with me. We're just waiting on the necessary paperwork to be sent over so I can sign it and get him signed.
All right, if you'll put the agreement in the chat box and
It's been sent, Judge. It should be in his email.
all right, it's in your email.
It's not. Could you please check to make sure you sent it to Scott Simpkins, since on a regular basis people send it to Scott Simpson?
No, I did. I made sure of that.
Okay. I'll wait for it to show up then.
All right, I now have the June 2nd date.
Check in your spam.
All right, so Scott, Shannon,
Yes, Your Honor.
all right, is your client indigent?
We would ask that the fees be waived, yes, Your Honor.
Whenever I speak to the victim, I get the name.
All right, I have signed it. So he just needs to show up.
And what's the, is there any, should he do that today, Judge?
See, here's the thing. I think communication has significantly broke down. I don't know where the communication, where the line, the string between the cans is broken, but what they have sent me is they sent me a violation report, and they're asking if I want him to continue with Scram remote breath as though he's on Scram. So is your client on any type of monitoring device right now?
I don't believe so.
All right, Mr. Stewart, can you unmute yourself, please?
Yes, Your Honor. I have the at-home breathalyzer currently.
So what are we doing then? If he has the at-home breathalyzer, why do we need another breathalyzer?
I'm not sure. Pre-trial just told me that I had to have 2 breathalyzers. She explained the Scram to me as a portable breathalyzer, which I just found out was an ankle bracelet. So I do not know, Your Honor. But I do currently have an at-home Intoxilock device.
Anyone have the answer why he's being requested to have 2 breathalyzers? I didn't request it. Does anyone have an answer? Does anyone want to call his pretrial services out, officer or state? Do you have any objection with him remaining on the at-home breathalyzer? Who are you conferring with?
Meredith.
All right, just give us a moment. We're going to see if there's any objections to him remaining on the at-home breathalyzer.
Okay.
So just give us a second. Robert Maurer, you're back.
Yeah, Judge, I've conferred with Hunter, and we're just trying to pin down a restitution amount on my case. I anticipate it's going to be a plea, but we're trying to determine whether or not the place my client worked got their property back, in which case there will be no restitution.
Who's your client?
Devonta Hemphill. Hunter tried calling the store this morning, but they didn't respond.
So is this going to be a plea or not a plea?
No, it's going to be a plea, Judge. But we just need to figure out, I don't want to plead my client without having a specific restitution amount, because it's unclear in the report whether or not the place he worked got their property back, in which case they got the property and the money and they're whole, and it's just a straight deferred offer.
Well, we can always do a plea and restitution can be determined. And if you want a restitution hearing, you can have a restitution hearing.
Judge, I just got through answering a writ, actually out of your court, on a Russell Hanshaw involving me doing a plea on a guy with restitution to be determined. And I had to answer a writ because they said I should not have pled the guy and waived appeal without first determining a restitution amount.
All right, so that would not be under Stephanie Boyd.
He is part of that. He scalped him.
Well, it's not you, Judge. It's that pesky Court of Appeals that I have to worry about. So if you can just give us a couple days, I just want to pin down the amount, and then it should be a deferred plea. Part of the deal was, at least the notes I had, was my client was supposed to pay some upfront restitution, and he was for a large period of time after he got arrested homeless, and I don't want to tag him with extra money.
Would you turn the fan off? I'm sorry, I can't hear. Thank you. All right, Norma, can you give them a reset date for next week? So by then restitution needs to be figured out.
Just don't do the 17th, Judge. I'm supposed to be picking a jury in the 175th on a continuous sexual assault.
Thank you.
Maybe Wednesday?
What time?
All right, what date did you want, Norma?
You said the 16th?
All right, we'll see you on June 16th.
Yes, ma'am, I will be here.
All right, thank you. And the plea deadline will not be extended after that point.
Okay.
So everyone needs to find out.
I got a deal worked out. It's just a question about restitution.
All right, thank you. You're excused.
Thank you.
Your Honor, if I may, it's Scott Simpkins. I've checked and I don't have the plea paperwork and it's not in my spam folder.
All right, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to send you to a breakout room. A prosecutor and the court coordinator will meet you there.
All right.
What breakout room were you in, Mr. Simpkins?
Room number 3. My client is there as well, I believe.
All right, I'm going to send you to breakout room number 1.
Judge, I don't think the prosecutor needs to go. It's just me.
All right. I'm sending you to number 1.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes.
I'm back from the breakout room. I was talking to Shannon Locke on that case. I think y'all were trying to figure out the scram issue.
Yes. So his client is saying that he's on the at-home device. So is there any objection to him continuing on the at-home device?
No, there's no objection. I believe, doesn't he have an affidavit of non-driving?
Yes.
Okay. No, there's no objection to that.
All right, if there is nothing else,
Your Honor, may I check in with Amethyst Garcia?
well, just one second.
Oh, sorry.
Mr. Locke, do you have anything else with Mr. Stewart
Nothing.
other than that?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, then you and your client are excused. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Happy Tuesday.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Have a great day.
All right, you too. Mr. DeWalt, yes.
Yes, Your Honor. I spoke with my client and I've received the application from Mr. Nesbitt. I was wondering if we could get a reset to tender the application for PTD.
All right, just give me one moment. Let me find out from Ms. Ferguson what date she wants that set. Just one second. Hey, Norma, sorry to interrupt. Norma? Why can't I hear anything? Oh, curses. Yeah. Okay. I'll have to remember to change that. Norma, on Amethyst Garcia,
Yes, ma'am.
can you give us a 30-day reset for PTD?
I can do July 17th.
All right, Ms. Garcia, we'll be back on July 17th.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. DeWalt, you and your client are excused unless you have something else with us.
Your Honor, I'm just checking. Is July 17th a Sunday?
Well, let's see. Ooh, it is a,
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
Celebrating with the Lord.
no, July 17th is a Saturday, but
Saturday. I'll be here.
yeah. But we celebrate with the Lord every day if you celebrate. Norma, which
20th.
day?
I'm sorry, I was looking at June.
All right, we'll be back on July 20th.
Thank you, Your
And
Honor.
Might I ask, is that enough time for the PTD to get a response? Or
Yes,
is that-
more than enough time.
Is that just time to get in the application? It'll be in today. Or-
No, that's more than enough time.
Okay, thank you, Judge.
Thank you. You and
Thank
your
you, Your
client are
Honor.
excused. You're welcome. Have a
Amethyst.
great Tuesday.
Amethyst,
You
I'll be.
too, ma'am.
Thank you. All right,
Yes, sir.
Patricia, you're back.
Yes, Judge, I had to call into the clerks and let them know I got booted and I had to reboot my whole system.
Oh my gosh. Okay, let me send you to a breakout room.
I'm already finished with the breakout room, Judge, with Marcus Sanders.
Okay, so
We were able to confer. Marcus had given an offer last time we were here and my client has rejected it. So the next thing we can do is just keep pushing forward to a trial setting, Judge.
all right, and where?
Meanwhile, Marcus is going to work on getting me a little bit more information that I had asked for his help with.
All right, where's Mr. Cervantes?
He should be on Zoom. He called me several times this morning telling me he was there.
All right, Ramiro Cervantes, where are you?
Let me call him on the phone, Judge.
All right, thank you. All right, Brandon Lopez, who do you have?
Yes, Your Honor. I have April Ruiz, I think is the name. No, April Diaz, Your Honor.
All right, I'll send you to a breakout room. And it's criminal trial division. I'll send you to breakout room number 2.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Russell Mitchell.
Hey, Judge.
Hi, who do you have?
I have a Charles Jones. I don't know if he's there. I was appointed a year ago and I've never had any contact with him.
All right, we're going to find out. Just be patient. Just give me a moment.
Okay.
Oscar Hernandez. Oscar Hernandez.
Morning, Judge. How are you?
Good morning. Who do you have?
Myra Santos. I was advised that she's back in Bexar County custody.
Does everyone hear what he says? You have a lot going on. Can you like mute whatever you have in the background, please?
I didn't hear you, Judge. I'm sorry.
You're listening to too many other screens.
Oh, well, no, I'm in person here in the 437th.
All right, so if you can step out of the 437.
Judge, can I just come back on yours a little bit? I've been in line for a while. I'm almost up to the bench.
All right, well, we have jury trial starting at 10. So if you don't make it back before then, what will end up
All right.
happening is
Thank you, Judge.
you have to come back in the afternoon.
Quiet, please.
All right, Jason Nitz, you're back.
Well, I was waiting for my client to be put into the breakout room with me, but he was never put in the breakout room with me. So
I don't think you didn't request him, but if you go back to breakout room number 6.
no, Marcus told me he was going to put him in, that I should just wait for him.
I just didn't know.
So
All right, if you'll go back to breakout room number 6, please, your client will meet you there.
thank you.
You're welcome. Ken Baker.
Yes, Judge, we've conferred. I've talked to my client. We're ready to proceed when the court can on the sentencing on the MTR. He's already pled true at the last setting. He FTA'd for his sentencing on last month.
All right. Marcus, they've their offer was for
Just one moment.
Sorry.
Can you see me? Can you see me now? Oh, this is okay. David De Leon.
And who's the prosecutor?
Joe Ray.
What's your phone number?
All right.
705.
Brenda, are you ready?
Is it a 210 number?
Yes.
All right, the court is calling 2015 CR 7848 State of Texas versus Juan Pete Zepeda. Can I have parties announced for the record, please, for the state?
Joe Ray Garcia.
For the defense?
Baker for Mr. Zepeda, Judge, who's present in custody via Zoom.
Mrs. Zepeda, could you unmute for me, please?
It died.
All right, well, can we just reset the
No, just 1 second. No, we cannot get a reset. Charge your phone. Everyone is aware that this court was set today. Charge your phone. There are electrical outlets here in the court, and last time I checked, they still work. We're back on the record.
You have a charger?
All right, just one
You're
moment.
gonna come back. Leave your phone up there. Go to your car. Come back with a charger. Leave your stuff there. Yeah, so leave it somewhere. So he's gonna go get his charger.
Thank you. All right, we are back on the record.
Okay.
And you are Juan Pete Zepeda, is that correct?
That's correct.
We are proceeding by video because of the pandemic. Any objection from the state or the defense?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Zepeda, do you have any objections to us proceeding by video?
No, Your Honor.
The court will note that on March 1st, the defendant entered a plea of true to violation of condition number 41. The court found it true. The state waived all other allegations. This was recalled for March 31st for sentencing. The defendant failed to show on March 31st, so we are here now. Are both parties ready to proceed?
Yes, Judge.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, state, what are you requesting?
Revocation, Judge. We can reform the sentence from 5 years prison to 4 years.
Defense?
Yes, Your Honor. We'd ask the court to follow that recommendation.
And Mr. Zepeda, are you requesting that the court follow that agreement?
Yes, I am, Your Honor.
Are you waiving your right to appeal?
Yes, I am.
Then the court will follow the agreement that has been reached. The court will find you guilty, not grant you community supervision, sentence you to 4 years prison, give you credit for any time served, and there's an affirmative finding of family violence. Is there anything else from either side with regards to sentencing?
No, Your Honor.
Judge, just one more issue in regard to his credits. I was informed that he did do 9 months in a therapeutic community. I think it was Safe P, and successfully completed that. I'd ask the court to give him credit for that time.
All right, the court will give your client credit for any successful inpatient treatment.
Thank you, Your Honor. With that, nothing further.
Mrs. Zepeda, I'm showing you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you electronically sign it?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
All right, because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
And also, because this is an affirmative finding of family violence, and because it's a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. Do you understand?
Yes, I understand, Your Honor.
All right, then with that, we'll close the record. Mr. Zepeda, I don't know why you didn't show up for your sentencing on March 31st, but here's the thing. You cannot run from your problems, because problems always catch up with you, because wherever you run, guess what? When you finally stop running, the same problem you had before is still there. You understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you have a drug or alcohol problem when you're released from prison, there are many, many places that are free to you, okay?
I understand.
All right, good luck to you, Mr. Zepeda. Norma, can you let them know that L1 can go back, please? And Mr. Baker, you are excused.
Thank you, Judge, very much. Have a good week if I don't see you before.
All right, thank you, you too. Patricia Vieira.
Yes, Judge. I spoke with my client. I believe his ID on here is under his friend David De Leon.
All right, Ramiro Cervantes, where are you?
I'm right here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear
I'm
you.
here. I'm sorry for the
My understanding
trouble.
is that you are requesting a jury trial. Is that correct?
I think I'd rather just have just a trial
No,
by
I mean,
you.
Mr. Cervantes.
Yes, ma'am.
Listen to my question and
Yes,
only
ma'am.
answer my question. And I say that because your attorney may not want you saying certain things. My
Yes, ma'am.
question is, do you want a jury trial? That's either yes or no.
No, ma'am.
Your client does not wish to have a jury trial.
Okay, Judge, if you want to put me in a conference room with my client, that would be great.
I mean, did I misunderstand?
I guess I misunderstood. He told me he's not taking a plea. What's the other option to no plea?
All right,
I'm not
Mr. Cervantes, listen
Yes, ma'am.
carefully to me.
Yes.
This case is not just going to be out there forever.
Okay.
So if you want to accept whatever plea bargain the state is offering, you can do
Oh, no.
that. If you want a jury trial, you will be going to a jury trial. Or if you want to enter a plea that is open to the court, you can do that as well. But what will not happen is your case will not be around in 2 years or 3 years or a year. So this is
Okay.
an unauthorized use of a vehicle. It's unless there's something extremely complicated. It appears on the surface to be a simple case. So I'm going to give you a plea deadline date. You can either accept the plea or not accept the plea. That's completely up to you. But this case will not just be sitting around with nothing happening. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am. I'm not taking no plea, and I would have a jury trial then.
All right,
'Cause I'm
yes,
not
you will have a jury trial. Ms.
Yes.
Ferguson,
No
can
one
we
on jury.
put Mr. DeLeon down for jury trial?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, Mr. Cervantes, were you requesting a bench trial?
No, ma'am. I just wanna just straighten this out because I didn't do this. So I want to
Mr.
have a trial.
Cervantes, Mr. Cervantes,
Yes, ma'am.
take a deep breath. I want you to listen to me. You have a right to have 12 citizens listen to whatever evidence the state wants to present and decide whether you're guilty or not.
Okay.
Or if the state is in agreement and your attorney's agreement, then you can say, I want the judge, which would be me, to
Mhm.
hear the evidence in the case and make a decision on whether you're guilty or not guilty. So who do you want to decide? Do you want 12 jurors or do you want me?
I want you.
All right.
I want you to make the decision.
All right. So then we'll set it for a bench trial. Ms. Vieira, are you and your client agreeing to a bench trial, or you need to talk with him about that?
I would like to speak with him, Judge.
All right. So Ms. Ferguson, can you set them for a trial? Put them on the trial date. And if it ends up being a jury trial or bench trial, just put them on the trial docket.
I can put them for June 21st.
All right, we're going to put you down for June 21st, Mr. Cervantes, and your attorney will speak to you. But on June 21st, you need to be in court in person. Do you understand?
Oh, yes, definitely.
All right, it's 300 De La Rosa, 4th floor, 187 District Court.
Yes, ma'am.
Judge, this is Linda Corley. I'm ready to approach when you're ready for me.
Yes, Mr. Cervantes and Ms. Vieira, you're excused.
Thank you, Judge.
Excuse me. Can I say something, ma'am?
No. Your attorney may not wish for you to say anything.
Oh, I'm talking about this ankle brace that I've been wearing.
No, that's not on the docket. Your attorney will file a motion and then that will be discussed, but the court will not take it up if it's not before the court on the docket.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. Thank you. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday.
Yeah. All right, Linda Corley.
Yes, Judge, I did confer, and the state needs a little extra time. They need to talk to the complainant, work on restitution. I believe they still have some things to get together in their file. If we could just have a regular reset.
Norma, on Gonzalo Fernandez Casas, can I have a 30-day reset, please?
Yeah, July 20th.
All right, we'll see you back on July 20th. At
Thank
that
you,
time,
Your-
the state will be ready to make an offer.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor. May my client and I be excused?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Casas, hit lead meeting.
Judge, this is Joanne Akel. Could I approach?
Yes.
Judge, in regard to Christopher Mendez Clark, I was unaware, Judge, but he made bond at the end of May. I need to try to track him down. I'm pretty sure he's not in your Zoom right now.
All right. Is there a Christopher Renee Mendez Clark?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh,
yes, he's here.
Okay, good.
Surprise. Mr. Clark, you need to remove the hat. I don't know if that's a Pittsburgh Pirate hat, but I know it's not a vintage Pittsburgh Pirate hat. All right, Joanne, I'll send you to a breakout room with your client.
Thank you, Judge.
And you're number 13.
Thank you.
And iPhone, you need to go to 13. And everyone else, we're starting a jury trial. So if your paperwork's not ready, I'm gonna see you back here at 1:30.
Judge, my paperwork is ready and in.
Let me see if your paperwork is in.
And you said that I needed to put the deal in the chat. Is it a chat just to you or the general chat?
I know that should have went to Ms. Ferguson. Excuse me.
I know. I need a piece of tape. It's on my-
Yeah, that's happening. You know, somebody moved that. Yes, I don't have your paperwork, so it's probably still in your client's box. I'm going to send everyone to breakout rooms. The prosecutors have the ability to move you through breakout rooms. If you have paperwork, get your paperwork done. I, of course, will sign it, but we're starting jury trial at 10, and you'll need to be back here at 1:30. And everyone needs to make sure you're on silent, please. And so people who are already in breakout rooms, if you'll go back to your breakout rooms, please. Mr. Canal, you need to go back to breakout room number 1 with your attorney, Mr. Simpkins.
Yes, ma'am.
Your
And
Honor.
Let me see. All right, and Norma, Joseph Acevedo's client, Mr. Robola, have him come back at 1:30.
Judge, I need to talk to you about that case really quick.
Can you send it in the chat box?
I did, Judge.
Oh, yes, thank you. Mr. Arobala, your case has been taken care of. So yes, he can go back, Norma. Your case was dismissed, Mr. Arobala.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Have a good rest of your Tuesday.
Thank you. Same to you. Thank you.
All right, stay out of trouble.
I sure will. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
Your Honor, can you put me back into break room 13? I was disconnected.
Yes, I'll send you to number 13. Okay. And is it just an MTR? Scott. Scott. Where's your client? Is it just a motion to revoke? Come back to the main room. Norma, can you have Mr. Canal back? We do have the paperwork for him.
Yes, ma'am.
And all those can go back.
Do you know what seat he's in, Judge?
Just 1 second. Oh, these from. Okay, all right, thank you. His client is 14A, but he's no longer in his seat.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome.
Okay.
All right, there's Mr. Canal. Is there a prosecutor available for Mr. Canal? Possession less than a gram?
Yes, Judge. Is this with Mr. Simpkins?
Yes.
I handle that one, Judge.
Thank you. Court is calling 2018 CR 2310, State of Texas versus Patrick Cannon Canal. Could I have parties announced for the record, please, for the state,
Hunter Morris for the state.
for the defense?
Scott Simpkins for the defense, Your Honor.
All right, and are you Mr. Canal?
Talking about all the other cases first.
Yes, ma'am.
We're proceeding by video. Any objection from the state?
Huh?
And from the state.
Any objection from the defense?
None from the defense, Your Honor.
Mr. Canal, I'm showing you a document entitled Defendant's Consent to Appear by Video. Did you review that document with your attorney?
Huh?
Did you understand it? And did you electronically sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily consented to appear by video. Next, I'm going to show you what's entitled Motion to Enter Adjudication of Guilt and Revoke Community Supervision, and state's motion to supplement pending motion to enter adjudication of guilt and revoke probation. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you electronically sign? I'm sorry, I'm being distracted by the hair on the iPhone. All right, did you review those documents with your attorney and did you understand them?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you the same Patrick Cannon Canal who was placed on deferred adjudication in 2018 CR 2310 for the offense of possession of a controlled substance, penalty group 1 less than 1 gram, on August 19, 2019 for a period of 2 years? Is that you?
Yes, ma'am.
State?
In Bexar County, Texas, the defendant, Patrick Cannon Canal, did then and there failed to report to the supervision officer in person and or by mail for the months of November and December 2019, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, and August 2020 in violation of condition number 5.
How do you plead to that, true or not true?
That is correct.
No, is it true or is it not true?
Yes, ma'am, it's true.
State?
You're muted, Hunter.
Judge, that is the only allegation in this MTR.
No, there are several others.
Oh, I'm
There's
looking at the
15.
supplemental. My apologies. The state would waive and abandon the remaining allegations, Judge.
Any objections?
No objections, Your Honor.
Mr. Canal, did you understand by pleading true to violation of condition number 5, the court could find it true, grant the motion, find you guilty, and sentence you up to 2 years in the state jail facility and up to a $10,000 fine? Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Knowing that, do you still wish to plead true to violation of condition number 5? Mr. Canal, do you
Yes,
still
ma'am.
wish to plead true to violation of condition number 5?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Is there an agreement?
Yes, Judge. It'd be to find the MTR true, revoke, and punish under 1244, sentenced to 15 days in the Bexar County Jail. And may it please the court, that would satisfy the judgment.
Is that the agreement, Mr. Simpkins?
Yes, Your Honor, that is.
Mr. Canal, are you asking that the court follow that agreement?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you waiving your right to appeal?
Yes, ma'am.
Court then will follow your agreement. The court will grant the motion, find you guilty, not grant you community supervision, sentence you to 15 days Bexar County Jail under 12.44 of the Penal Code. The court will show that the judgment is satisfied. Showing you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you electronically sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Also, because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, is there a reason you're pulling your mask down and?
No,
Trying
just so you can hear me more clearly, I just.
No, I can hear you very clearly if you
all right.
speak. All right, Mr. Canal, we're off the record. You got to get your life together. Do you understand? Otherwise, you're going to find yourself permanently wearing orange, different shades of orange, and going in and out of the Bexar County Jail and maybe the prison system. So your choices are your own. If you want to make your life better, then you need to do better. All right, Norma, can you let them know that 14A can go back?
Yes, ma'am.
And we're starting up our jury trial, so everyone else needs to be back at 1:30.
Your Honor, may I be excused?
Yes, you're excused.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, and iPhone, we'll see you back at 1:30.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Thank you. Have a good rest of your Tuesday.
You as well.
Thank you. All right, everyone, I'll see you back at 1:30. Be muted. All right, everyone, see you back at 1:30. We're in a jury trial. Jury trial is to start at 10 a.m. So see you all back at 1:30. If you're here at 1:30, we will start at 1:30. Yes. All right, thank you. You know what? I think the witness will need to be adjusted because it's high, it's to the ceiling. Oh, no, that's great. Okay, thank you. We're good then. Yes, thank you. All right, before the jury comes in, Brenda, are you ready? Court is calling 2019 CR 6484, State of Texas versus Kevin Debnab. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state? For the defense? All right, are both parties ready to proceed? Defense?
Yes, Your Honor, I have made the prosecution aware that my client has elected not to testify in this case. That may impact on the admissibility of his testimony.
Okay. All right. Could you have the jurors come in, please? All right, everyone, please be seated. All right, I hope everyone was able to find parking. All right. We do, as you can see, we have giant fans, but we've discovered when we turn them on, they are too loud. So I've been promised, they've said that the AC should be coming on. I think it's still a little hot. I don't know if that's me or not, but if anyone wants the fans on, we will turn them on and everyone will just have to speak up louder, okay? All right, State, call your next witness. Could you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do. All right, you can lower your hand, and if you could take a seat, please don't touch any of the microphones. But if you could state your name and spell it for the record, please.
My name is Polly Warden, that is spelled HOLLIWORDEN.
State.
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Warden, good morning. How are you presently?
I am a firearm examiner at the Bexar County Criminal Investigation Laboratory.
And just if you could detail for the jury your basic job duties in that role.
As a firearm examiner, I'm examining firearms and other ammunition components. I function test firearms, I perform microscopic security marks, and I also conduct other duties such as serial number restorations and
what type of you have in reaching your goal?
I have a
This witness keeps turning toward the jury whenever she speaks to them.
All right, if you could speak louder for us, please.
I have a Bachelor of Science in Forensic Science from American University, and I have over 2 years of specialized training in firearm and investigation. 1 year of that training was in-house at the laboratory in Florida, and the second year of training was hosted by the ATF, and it was called the National Firearm Examiner Academy. And that training covered all of the different aspects of my discipline.
The firearm and tool marks section
of the Bear County Crime Lab, is that an accredited lab?
Yes, it is.
By who?
It is accredited through the Texas Forensic Science Commission as well as ANAB.
ANAB is what?
It is ANSI, National Accreditation Board.
And that's a national organization that has sort of standards of practice and precision for crime labs.
Yes.
Okay. Judge, may I approach the witness?
Yes.
Mark states number 43 for identification and ask you if you recognize that document.
Yes, I do recognize this document.
What is it?
It is my firearms report.
Okay. Does a firearms report have a specific CIL number that corresponds to that one investigation?
Yes, that's correct. The CIL number is the Criminal Investigation Laboratory number, and it's a unique identifying number that our laboratory gives a case as it is received.
Could you tell the members of the jury what the CIL number for this particular report is, please?
The CIL number is 1903731.
Okay. And when you are asked to examine certain physical pieces of evidence, do you mark the packaging with the corresponding CIL number?
Yes, my CIL number, the item number, and my initials, and the date that I opened it.
Okay. And that's in plain speak, just to make sure that for this case, for this report, this is the stuff we tested.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to hand you or show you another physical exhibit. We have gloves over here if you like them. I'm first going to show you the outer packaging, which is states 27, and ask you, does the same CIL number, your initials and date appear on that packaging?
Yes, it does.
Okay. And now I'm going to show you the contents of states 27, which are states 27A for identification, states 27B, C, D, as well as some rounds. And ask you, are each of these the items that you tested in this particular CIL?
I may look at them.
Yes,
Okay.
please.
Firearm is safe. Yes, I recognize these.
Okay, and now I want you to take a look at the contents of states 27A and tell me if you recognize the contents of that small white matchbox.
Yes, these are test fired cartridge cases that I would have fired from that firearm.
We're moving states 27A into evidence. The other exhibits have already been received by the court.
All right, any objections from the defense?
No objection.
All right, 27A is admitted into evidence.
So before we talk about your testing and finding in this case, I want to just explain a little bit about gun mechanics, because not everybody's a gun pro like yourself. So this type of firearm, let's start with the caliber. What caliber is this firearm?
It is a 9mm caliber firearm.
Okay. In the stomach, I'm gonna do my best not to point it at you. The style of this firearm is what kind of pistol?
It is a semi-automatic pistol.
Okay. So the action on this pistol is as You pull the trigger, the slide will pull back, and what shoots out the top here?
So a bullet will come out of the barrel of the firearm, and a fired cartridge case would be kicked out of the firearm.
Okay, kicked out is that this part up here?
Yes, it's a process called extraction and ejection.
And just so the jury knows, this is a live round or a fired cartridge case?
That is a fired cartridge case.
And this is the part of the bullet that gets ejected out of the top of the gun.
Yes, it is it's not a bullet, but it is a cartridge case is what
Right.
it's called. So yes, that's the part of the ammunition component that is ejected out of the firearm.
Okay. Now I want to ask you a hypothetical. Let's start with this piece first, though. This is called what?
That is a magazine.
All right. And the magazine in a semi-automatic firearm, how does that work?
So ammunition or unfired cartridges are physically loaded into the magazine. There's a spring in there that pushes them upward. That is inserted into the grip portion of the pistol to load it, and then pulling that slide, the top portion of the pistol rearward and releasing it forward will take the top unfired cartridge, this is a demonstrative aid. The top unfired cartridge will go chamber into the barrel chamber area of the firearm, and that will load the cartridge into it. After that cartridge is fired and the bullet leaves the barrel, the cartridge case portion is extracted and ejected out the firearm. As the slide goes back and returns forward, it takes the next unfired cartridge from the magazine and then chambers that. And that happens just once each time the trigger is pulled. Only one shot would be fired.
Okay. Hypothetically, I was firing this gun, and for whatever reason, the fired cartridge case jammed here in the breech. Would I be able to continue firing rounds?
If there was a fired cartridge case stuck in the firearm, that would have to be physically removed from the firearm before another cartridge could be loaded.
So hypothetically, well, I guess tell us, Jerry, how many rounds does this magazine hold?
It holds 6 unfired cartridges.
And what is the maximum capacity of this particular firearm?
So you could have 6 in the magazine and 1 also in the chamber.
So that would be a total of 7 rounds. It could hold a total of 7 rounds.
At a time, yes.
All right. So with this magazine and this weapon, hypothetically, if I had it loaded for what I'm going to call 6+1, and I was shooting, in the second round, the case jammed in the breech, could I shoot those other 5 rounds?
Not in that current condition. It would have to be, that cartridge case would have to be removed first.
So the remaining 5 live rounds would still be in the magazine.
Yes, that would be possible. Yes.
Okay. I just want to tell the jury a little bit about the types of bullets as well. So you brought with you a plastic demonstrative aid here today.
Yes.
If you could walk the jury, please, through this demonstrative aid and how it could help them in their understanding of how firearm and munitions work.
Yeah, so this is an example of what an unfired cartridge would look like. There are 4 main components of it. There's the bullet. When that's inflated, it's called a projectile. There's the cartridge case, which is that shell body that we discussed. The primer is on the head of the cartridge case, and then there's gunpowder in the middle on the inside of the cartridge case. So when this is chambered in the barrel of the firearm and the trigger of the firearm is pulled, a firing pin strikes this primer portion of the cartridge that contains explosive material that detonates upon impact. And that detonation ignites the gunpowder inside of the cartridge case. Pressures build up very rapidly, and that is what actually forces the bullet out of the cartridge through the barrel out the firearm. At the same time, that pressure pushes backwards against the rear portion of the slide of the firearm, and that helps the slide move backward to cycle, extract, eject that cartridge case out of the firearm.
And so if we're looking at the, just for example, these two rounds, the round I'm holding in my right hand does not have a firing pin impression, or what I'm going to point and call a squish mark in this part right here. It does not have an impression or a squish, right?
It has a tiny little mark on it, which I know I wrote it in my notes, but it's not consistent with having discharged or fired.
And then a fired round, how is that different?
So the fired cartridge case, the primer, is similar to this, where there's that squish mark, as you said, on the back of it, impression.
Is there anything unique about a particular weapon or a brand when it makes that firing pin impression into the primer cap, when that pin squishes into the metal?
So a firing pin on a firearm is going to have different features on it. Some of those are class characteristics or features that are designed by that particular gun's manufacturer. Could be the shape or style of that, what that impression looks like, or that end of that firing pin. And then there's also going to be features called individual characteristics, which are unique irregularities, random marks that are imparted during the manufacturing process or by use or abuse of the firearm. And those are sort of the unique signature that is left on the primer.
Okay, so when we looked at states 27A, which was the small matchbox with test fire rounds, that was you doing what with this firearm in the lab?
So I examined that firearm, and part of the exam is doing 2 test fires of cartridges. I take cartridges from our laboratory and I load them in the firearm and test fire it to ensure that the firearm is working properly. And then we retain those cartridge cases.
So it might be a little bit duh, but we can tell, you as an expert can tell the members of this jury that this is an operable firearm. This is a working, functioning gun.
Yes, that is true.
Okay, and you were able to successfully fire those test cartridges with this weapon?
Yes, I was.
All right. Then do you take those test cartridges and compare them to, say, a cartridge that was in evidence that was recovered from the scene?
Yes, if there's a fired bullet or a fired cartridge case, that I can look at those, evaluate them, and then perform a microscopic comparison of that to the test fires that I know came from that firearm because I fired them.
And are you able to determine or render an expert opinion of whether that particular round, a round that was recovered in evidence, was fired from this gun?
Yes, I am.
Okay, and what is that expert opinion?
So my opinion is that the cartridge case that I was demonstrated here, I determined that it was fired in that firearm due to agreement of all discernible class characteristics and sufficient agreement of the individual characteristics.
Next, I want to ask you about the difference between this type of round and this type of round. Okay.
Okay.
Let's start with this one.
Okay.
The copper brass colored round that I'm holding in my left hand. What type of round is this?
The bullet on that cartridge is considered a full metal jacket round nose bullet.
Okay, and it's called a full metal jacket. Why?
There is a copper jacket that encapsulates the entire nose portion of that bullet.
Okay. The round I'm holding in my right hand, this type of round is called what?
That would be called a jacketed hollow point bullet. And there is a cavity in the nose that the purpose of that is to facilitate expansion upon impact of certain objects. And so it'll usually slow down and also expand upon impact.
Okay. Is expand upon impact another way of saying that the hollow point, when it strikes a target, intermediary target, whatever, will break apart into shrapnel or lots of pieces, whereas the full metal jacket tends to stay whole?
The hollow point bullet, if, for example, if it impacts anything water-based, such as water or another person, it will expand, or it'll kind of form a shape of a mushroom and get wider at the nose end. And it typically will stay together, but it can break apart into pieces as well.
The hollow point design versus the full metal jacket. Why is the hollow point, like, why is that a thing? Why is it designed that way?
I mean, one of the reasons would be to not to impact something, but not pass all the way through it. Like if it were to hit a person, it may stop earlier in the person, whereas like a rounded bullet may pass through more easily because of the shape of it and its design.
So could it be to theoretically do more damage?
I mean, they're both going to do damage, so it's. I mean, that could be an intent potentially.
I'm going to hand you the brass round, the full metal jacket that I was holding now, and ask you what caliber is that?
It also appears to be 9mm, or 9mm Luger is a longer name for that.
Okay, and that's a round that's suitable to be chambered and fired in this weapon as well.
Yes.
And for the record, the weapon I'm holding is states 27. What letter is it marked?
D.
D. As in dog. Judge, I pass the witness.
Defense.
Thank you, Ron. Ms. Warden.
Yes.
Are you aware that hollow points are in fact issued to air marshals on airplanes?
I did not specifically know that or what air marshals are issued.
Okay. Would a hollow point weapon be designed to avoid penetrating a soft target and then possibly penetrating an aircraft?
Are you saying like pass through an object and then an aircraft?
Yes, to limit the follow-on damage.
I mean, that sounds consistent with what I was saying of it'll slow down the bullet if it impacts something first so that further things are not damaged.
Okay. When you received this gun, was the cartridge, the expended cartridge case, still in the weapon?
No, it was not.
Were you aware of who or why they removed it from the weapon?
It's our lab policy that we don't receive firearms that are loaded. Somebody has to unload it before submitting it to the laboratory.
Okay, that would mean take out the clip, but the expended cartridge case would not obviously make it loaded.
To us, that's still considered loaded. I mean, it has something in it. And so they always separate out any fired bullets or any fired cartridge cases, anything unfired as well, from the firearm when they submit it for safety reasons.
Okay. Were you able to determine what the individual who may have taken that expended cartridge case from the weapon had used to remove that?
I don't know any of that type of information.
Was there any damage to the cartridge case?
I don't remember noting any. I could refer to my notes to confirm.
Sure, go ahead.
I do not have any notes of any type of noticeable damage on that cartridge case.
Okay, but until that expended cartridge case was removed from the gun, it could not be fired again.
That's correct.
And I don't know, honestly, I'm going to ask a question I don't know the answer to, but is there a sort of a generic way that expended cartridge cases get hung up in a gun?
Like, do you mean like how it looks or where it's located in the
No,
fire?
how did it get stuck? Why did it get stuck?
I mean, I don't know why a cartridge case is always going to get stuck. There could be multiple reasons depending on how the firearm is handled. Sometimes it can be just, yeah, if it's not gripped tight enough, if it is resting up against another object that can impede the movement of that slide. I think this firearm, when I examined it, the slide was not locking back when I test fired it. So sometimes if that kind of thing happens, it can cause jams to occur.
Okay, so it's possible this was just not a very good gun or not well maintained.
Yes, that's going to be a possibility.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
Stay.
Nothing further for this witness. May she be excused?
All right, is this witness subject to recall or may she be excused?
No, Your Honor.
All right, the rule has been invoked. What that means, you're not allowed to discuss your testimony with anyone. The only persons you're allowed to speak to are attorneys for the state and attorneys for the defense. All right, thank you. You're excused. And could everyone please make sure the exhibits that are here that have been entered, that they are given to the court reporter.
Judge, the state calls Christy Vachon.
All right, and just one moment. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, sometimes you may notice people coming through this side door. That's for me, for documents to sign. It has absolutely nothing to do with this case. And you may notice that people are coming in and out of the courtroom. Again, it has nothing to do with this case. Does everyone understand? And could you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
All right, you can lower your hand. If you could not, please touch the microphone, but if you can state your name and spell it for the record.
My name is Christina Vachon. My first name is spelled Crystina. My last name is spelled Vachon.
And the acoustics are not very good sometimes in the courtroom, so if you could make sure you keep your voice up so that the state and the defense can hear you as well. All right, state.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Vachon, how are you presently employed?
I am the quality assurance manager at the Bexar County Criminal Investigation Laboratory, and I was a forensic scientist in the trace evidence section for about 15 years. I'm also currently the technical leader of the impression evidence and gunshot residue testing in our laboratory.
The trace evidence section performs what kind of testing?
We perform testing such as hair and fiber examination, paint analysis, gunshot residue analysis, as well as identifying general unknowns.
What is your education and experience leading up to your present position?
I have a bachelor's degree in biochemistry and a master's degree with a concentration in forensic science. And I've had training like during my tenure at the crime lab, both inside and outside of the laboratory.
Okay, the trace evidence section of the Bexar County Crime Lab, does it hold any accreditations?
Yes,
From whom?
from ANAB and the Texas Forensic Science Commission.
I think we've been through it once today, so that's both for state and on a national level.
Correct.
Okay. When you perform a trace evidence analysis or somebody does in your section, is there a specific CIL number that corresponds to the analysis?
Yes.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
Yes.
I'm first going to hand you what's been marked as states number 44, sorry, for identification and ask you, do you recognize that document?
Yes, I do.
And what do you recognize it to be?
This is a copy of my trace evidence report.
Does it have a specific CIL number on it?
Yes, it does.
And what is that number?
19-03731.
And I'm now going to direct your attention to, in the close here, if you'd like, States Exhibit 28 and its contents 28A, and ask you, do you recognize those exhibits?
Yes, I do.
How?
Every item of evidence that I examine, I will write the criminal investigation laboratory number, the date of analysis, the item number, and my initials on that item of evidence. And I see that on both of these items.
Do the CIL numbers, your initials, et cetera, all match?
Yes, they do.
Okay. So then at this time, we would move states 28A as evidence to be received by the court with this witness at this time.
All right. And 28A was previously admitted subject to the foundation being laid, but it wasn't presented to the jury. Is there any objections from the defense with regards to 28A now?
No, Your Honor.
All right, then 28A, is that admitted?
We've heard a little bit about it, Ms. Vashon, but just to go back over it again, 28A, this is what?
That is a gunshot residue collection kit.
Okay. So if I had to simplify it down, you're the expert at the end of the line that tests the contents of this kit.
Correct.
Okay. Let's explain to the jury a little bit how you go about testing the contents of that kit. When you,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
oh, I was just going to say, when you receive it in the lab, what do you do?
The evidence is submitted into our evidence receiving section, where I will pick up that evidence. The chain of custody will show that it's transferred to my custody. And then I take it to our scanning electron microscope room for testing.
Briefly, for the members of the jury, scanning with the electron microscope, you're looking for what?
I'm looking for lead, barium, and antimony, or any combination of two of those elements.
Lead, barium, oh, come back up there. Lead, barium, and antimony are created during what part of the discharge of a firearm?
I have a visual aid if you want me to use it. Okay. So whenever the trigger is pulled on a weapon, the trigger will release the firing pin of the weapon, and that strikes the primer cap area, which is the gray area you see here on my model. And it causes a small explosion here in this primer cap, which blows through into the cartridge case area, which contains the gunpowder. That gunpowder ignites, the gases inside of this cartridge case expand very quickly and pushes the bullet out of the cartridge case and down the barrel. What I am looking for, like I said, are lead, barium, and antimony, and they are components of this primer cap area of the round of ammunition. And they actually evaporate in that explosion, and then they'll condense back together to form particles. And they're forced out of the gun because of those pressures, and then they'll land on any surface that's around the gun when it's fired.
So if I was to give you a hypothetical example, I'm holding this firearm, I pull the trigger, the combustion or the explosion in the round happens, and those gases are coming out of this firearm. There's the potential they're going to get on the hand that's holding the firearm
Correct,
or things in the general area around that firearm.
correct.
And it's 3 different things, lead, barium, and antimony are 3 different particles that you can look for.
There are 3 different elements. I will look for them in one particle altogether.
Okay. So referring to your test on states 28A, you had a gunshot residue collection kit for who?
Kevin Debnam Jr.
Okay. And you performed a test analysis on the contents of 28A for a Kevin Debnam Jr.
Yes,
All right. Did you did you reach a result or an expert conclusion in this case?
yes, I did.
And what is your expert conclusion?
I found 2 microscopic particles containing lead, barium, and antimony on the sample labeled right hand in the kit. I did not find any particles containing any combination of lead, barium, or antimony on the sample that was labeled left hand in the kit.
Okay. Thank you. Judge, we passed the witness.
Defense.
Ma'am, is there some reasonable zone around a discharged weapon that these gases could go to?
I can't give a specific distance that the particles would travel because every situation is different. The distance could be determined by the number of shots fired, the number of particles created, the type of ammunition, the type of weapon. It could even be dependent on if there are any air currents at the time, because these particles are very, very small and they can float on the air currents. So even if we're inside and the air conditioner is on, it can affect where these particles go and how far away they can float from the gun. So I can't give you a distance.
Okay. Where would they come out of a semi-automatic 9mm pistol?
On this specific weapon, it would come out of the ejection port where the cartridge case is ejected from the weapon. A majority of that gunshot residue is going to be coming out of the barrel of the weapon. Obviously, that's the largest open area, and that's where the force is moving that bullet. So it's going to push that gunshot residue out of that area. And then if there are just any other open areas where the pressure is relieved from that explosion, the gunshot residue can come out of those as well.
But you can't come up with some sort of distance estimate of where that kind of pistol would normally eject this gas.
No, I can't.
Okay. If someone had a pistol fired over their shoulder or near their face, would you expect to find gunshot residue on their face?
Yes, it is possible to find gunshot residue on someone's face if a weapon has been fired near it.
And you received no gunshot residue test kits from anyone that was tested on the face?
No, I did not. I only received 1 kit in this case.
Okay. And that was just the one left and right hand test for Mr. Debnam.
Yes.
Now, I'm assuming you've tested a lot of people's gunshot residue kits, correct?
Yes.
You do live in San Antonio, so.
Yes. And I have been doing this for about 17 years. So I've had a lot of experience.
what is the largest number of, I think you said particles was the issue that you found on a gunshot residue test of one hand?
So in our lab, we have a policy that we stop at 10 particles. At that point, we have shown that gunshot residue is on that sample 10 times over, and we always have a backlog. We always have cases waiting to be tested. So we have set a policy in place, 10 particles on each sample is the maximum number we'll confirm.
Do you have some estimate on what percentage would have the 10 particle cutoff?
No.
Okay. If you had a person who was shot at close range, would they have gunshot residue on them?
Even whenever a person is not at close range, I generally expect to find gunshot residue on samples from a victim of a gunshot wound, yes.
Okay. Just the carry through of the gases.
Yes, there's some speculation that there may be a supersonic wind that travels behind the bullet that carries those gunshot residue particles. And so they can be deposited on a person who is shot, but even far away from the gun whenever it's fired.
Okay. Well, I have to admit, I've learned something new today. Thank you very much, ma'am. No further questions, Your Honor.
State.
Thanks, Judge. 2 microscopic particles are 3 elements that we're looking for. In scientific terms, is that a robust sample? Like, is that a robust finding?
If I just find one particle in a kit, I will call that a positive test. I will come to the conclusion that the person may have discharged a firearm, handled a discharged firearm, or was in close proximity to a discharging firearm. So for me, 2 particles is a positive test.
Pass the witness, Your Honor.
Just one moment, Your Honor.
All right, and excuse me, defense. You may want to make sure each at the tables to make sure that your microphone is off if you're discussing with each other, because my understanding is that the microphones are very sensitive. So if you'll see your microphones on the desk, the green light, when the green light is on, then your microphones are on. So if you would like to turn your microphones off, you just touch the button, and the light will turn red, just to signify that they're off. But defense, you may have a moment.
Thank you, Your Honor. I just needed to review those notes. That's all.
No problem.
Is there any evaluation of, I guess, any surety of where this person was in connection with these gases to get this particle?
No, there isn't. These particles, like I said, are forced from this weapon in a random manner, and they will land on any surfaces that are around the weapon whenever it is fired. So whenever someone has gunshot residue on their hands, I can't tell you why that gunshot residue is there. I can only give you the most likely conclusions, which are in my report.
No further questions, Your Honor.
All right.
Nothing further, Judge. May Ms. Michonne be excused?
All right, is this witness excused or subject for recall?
I have no reason to recall her, Your Honor.
All right, the rule has been invoked. What that means is you're not allowed to discuss your testimony with anyone. You're only allowed to speak to attorneys for the state and attorneys for the defense.
Thank you.
All right, state, if you'll make sure that the exhibits are given to the court report and then call your next witness.
State calls Detective Michael Alvarez.
Have my request?
Yes. All right, if you could raise your right, just one moment. If you can raise your right hand for me, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand. And could you state your name for the record, please, and spell it?
It's Michael Alvarez, Michahelvarez.
All right, you can have a seat. Please do not touch the microphone. And also just remember to speak up loudly so that the state and the defense and the jurors can hear you.
Okay, great.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Judge. Detective, how are you presently employed?
I'm a detective for the city of San Antonio, sir, for the night CID office.
Night CID stands for what?
For night criminal investigation detail.
Okay. So your job duties at work, if you could detail them for the jury, include what?
Your Honor, could I ask him to speak a little bit closer to the microphone?
Sorry about that. Okay, so my unit is in charge of the initial investigations. My unit doesn't have a caseload, so whatever case we get that night is the case we handle. After we're done with it, we send it over to whatever the follow-up unit will be. Homicide, robbery, SVU.
What are the hours that you work at night CID?
We work from 7 in the evening to 5 in the morning.
Okay. How long have you been with SAPD?
15 years.
Right. And then before starting with SAPD, what kind of training and experience do you get?
We go to the training academy for 7 months, I believe.
Okay. Are you a certified peace officer in the state of Texas?
Yes, sir, I am.
And were you in April of 2019?
Yes.
All right. Can I approach the witness, Your Honor?
Yes.
Two exhibits. The first is State's Exhibit 45 for identification, and the second is State's number 46. Starting with 45, do you recognize that document?
Yes, it's a copy of my supplement report.
Okay. When did you generate that supplement report?
Looks here like April 27th, sir, 2019.
Okay. And why did you generate that supplement report?
One of my coworkers, Detective Leon, asked me to interview somebody for him. And I just summarized the interview on the report.
Okay. So let's just kind of set the scene for the jury here. Were you the lead investigator or detective on this case?
No, sir. So what I want to explain is my unit kind of, I don't want to say an emergency room, but we kind of just triage the cases. So we send one detective out. That detective goes out to the scene and he says, hey, I need to interview 3 people, 4 people. He'll send them back. So more than likely what happened is Detective Leon called me and says, I have somebody coming back. Would you interview him for me? So he gives me a quick briefing and we go from there.
So the jury's clear. Hypothetically, we're going to watch an interview of a suspect, but you did not make the scene and talk to all the witnesses and stuff first.
No, sir. It's just, hey, can you interview somebody for me? He's in here. I interview him. I give him the DVD, the summary, and I move on to the next case.
I'm directing your attention now to States 46 for identification. Can you look at that disc and tell me, do you recognize that?
Yes, sir. It's a DVD copy of the disc of the video.
Have you previously reviewed the contents of that particular disc?
Yes, I did. And I put my initials with my badge number.
Okay. And the contents of that disc are what?
It's the interview in our office, sir, or one of the interview rooms.
Of who?
Of myself and it looks like Kevin, sir, the defendant.
Okay. Did the contents of that disc fairly and accurately depict your interview with Mr. Kevin Debenham on that date at that time?
Yes, sir.
Judge, pending any objection from the defense, we would move to enter States 46 into evidence.
Your Honor, may I take him on board here?
Yes.
Detective, did
Yes,
you read Mr. Debnam his rights prior to taking this interview?
Yes, sir.
No further questions, Your Honor, no objection.
All right, State's Exhibit number 46 is admitted.
Judge, we asked to publish it to the jury.
Yes, and are you able to do it from your system there and then upload it here?
I think so.
Okay. And you should have the ability to share screen. Just make sure that when you're uploading it, you click on the sound on the share screen button.
We'll pause it. Okay, Detective, just to set the scene a little bit for the members of the jury, what we're looking at right now in the paused video is what?
It's one of our interview rooms, sir. We'll start the DVD before anybody gets in the room.
Okay. The camera is recording for the full duration of the interview.
Yes, sir. And we'll stop the recording after everybody exits the room as well.
Is that camera visible?
As far as like, there's not a big camera, but there is, it's like this big, sir. It looks like more like the air conditioner control panel, sir. Is what it looks like.
Okay. So we're going to start the video at internal timestamp 1:17:37.
I appreciate you coming down so comfortably, so you want to give us your side of the story of what happened, right? Okay, well, let me read you something recently to you real quick, just so you have some rights here, okay? It says, before you ask any questions, it is my duty as a police officer to advise of your rights and to warn you the consequences of waiving these rights. You have the right to remain silent. You do not have to make any statement, oral or written, to anyone. Any statement that you make will be used in evidence against you in the court of law or at your trial. You have a right to have a lawyer present to advise you before and during any question by police officers or attorneys representing the state. You may have your own lawyer present, or if you're unable to employ a lawyer, the court will appoint a lawyer for you free of charge now or any other time. If you decide to talk to anyone, you can, and you can stop talking to them at any time you want. The above rights are continued rights, which can be urged by you at any stage of these proceedings. Do you understand your rights? Okay, so do you want to talk to me? Okay. You want your handcuffs, right? Yeah, very tight. All right, stand on up real quick. I'll take them off, bro. Face that way too. It might hurt a bit when I take them off. I'm just gonna put them up front, all right? Okay, when I take these handcuffs off, I'm just gonna remind you that I'm a policeman. I've been assaulted before in here. And their defense was like, I didn't know you were a policeman. Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't. All right, one thing. And this tip miner, there you go. Let me put it up front, all right? And then I'll loosen that one up for you. Can you move your shirt back? You got blood on you. Did someone photograph your injuries? My face. Someone took photos of you then? No, my face. Now your hands. Talk to the investigator. Charge. Double lock. All right, I'll see you. So, what is your step, Kevin, right? Kevin, what is your last name? Hold on one second. D-E-V N-A Kevin. You have a middle name? No? Where do you live? Warsburg. You know the address on Warsburg? 6400. 6,400? Are those apartments? You know the code out there? It's 240. And where do you work? No problem. And what's a good phone number for you? I just got that for you. Okay. And how old are you, Jim? 37. What's your date of birth? 4/25. You just have a birthday, huh? 82, right? And are you married? So if we're trying to get a hold of you, but we can't, who is somebody we can contact? 210. One thing. All right, go. 943. 25. 91. And who is that? He's trying to get birthday. My son. No, I'm about to have a son. Okay, what's your name? Ashley. Ashley what? Korea. So is it your, like, can I put common law white? Yeah. And where does she live? 4214 Willard. And that's it, just Willard? Willard, all right. And it's here, San Antonio? And here? If not, I can look it up when I get back to the TV. Okay, so Kevin, what happened tonight that I see you got all fucked up, bro? Someone beat the shit out of you right here. So what happened? What's going on? Where's the store? Some beers. Okay. And so, everybody was accused to police and all this stuff. This shit. On the side street. Yeah. Like we left out. I told him I was doing this thing that's the thing right there. Sounds like I just walk around in case the bus on them. Because I know it's out, yeah, from the other side. So I did that. I said, I was there for like a minute. And then I heard some charging up. Now, the one, I don't mean to interrupt you, but some people say minute and they mean a shitload of time, or you mean like a literal minute? Yeah, it wasn't that long. Because of my backpack. I was going to stretch my back. That's when I heard the one dude charging up. Boom. I was really start punching. I'm like, God, what are you doing? And so, wound up getting on my stomach. And got me on my back, choking me. Then he saw your place on that other dude. And so, they still doing it. Next thing you know, pushed it, pow! It went out like, close to my face. And another one, like, down to my stomach area. I have a piece of shit, man. It's just bothering me. I didn't know self-defense was illegal. Well, and that's why I'm glad you came down here. I know initially you said, hey, I didn't have a choice, but I'm glad you came down here so you can clear it out for us to see what happened. That's what we're talking to everyone. It was yeah, and that's understandable because I see you make your face off. Sometimes people get offended because I talk like a fucking, I say shit a lot, I talk a lot of crap. So, your face is jacked up right here. I can see, like, right here, right? And your hand tab down, this is kind of swollen right here, Because I think I painted or something, or movies, or the girl, I don't know, something. One of them, yeah. I was like, I just sat there. Where were you sitting? By the tire. Okay. The tire not on or in, but right down the road. But I'm sorry, you just said the tire is like I was like car, motorcycle, car. Okay, the car that I was supposedly was in. What kind of car was it? SUV. SUV? Okay, no problem. So the first car that came at came out at you, right? You said you looked back, you saw someone running towards you and shit. What was that guy, Black Pakistan?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I never got to really look at it.
Okay.
It was, like this.
So when you first came at you, you said you were sitting by the tire, so you were on the ground?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're on the ground and you look back, you saw some big fucking dude hauling ass at you, and he hit you. Okay. And is this how we got this on your left side of your cheek? You write that down real quick. Left side of your cheek, right? So you're sitting there. So then what happens? You say, and then, but all you say is, then a gun. Like, how did the gun come out?
I don't know.
Did you have a gun?
No.
Okay. So, did you see who had a gun?
I was in my stomach the whole time. So I didn't know. I just seen it like out of the corner of my eye. I'm like, what the fuck, they really trying to do that shit? I'm telling him, I said, I do not have nothing of yours in my possession. And he's like, yeah, you got my car. I said, I don't have nothing in this. I'm like, I'm getting ready to die for nothing. And I mean, I don't know what they said, it's nothing stolen it from the car.
No, no one's accusing you of stealing anything or any of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, no, they didn't say you took shit, none of that stuff. We're just here, we're just, investigating the gunshots and then the stabbing. But you said you were just defending yourself. And like I told you, that's just understandable. I think any person would say, he's sitting there, getting his ass kicked by two people, he hears a fucking gunshot, and then he pulls out a knife and stabs somebody, understandable. I think any person would say, fucking right, I probably do the same thing. You know, somebody might say that.
And luckily, that got the other one out. I mean, because two people, I mean, like I told you, I have a son ready to be born. Okay, any day.
So,
and I just, like, you know, they was really choking the shit out of me.
did you see, you said Paramount, but Paramount and Warspark aren't where you, at least I imagine this is by the medical center, 78240, is that correct?
Yeah.
So how did you end up over there? That's a long haul to try.
I was at Northstar.
Okay.
Yeah, I was at Northstar. So I went there, I was like, that's the closest way on my get a beer. So that's why I went. I went to that store down there before they closed. You know, they stopped something else. Like I went all the way to 12. Yeah. Worst day ever. So that's what I did. I got that. I had a number in my bag, but I jumped out of it.
So you
just go in there and get ready. But like then because I missed the other one. Soon as I came out, so the bus.
You missed the other bus.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's another one, you know, it goes down the, all the way up here by the, that go past. It turns around, you know, comes back this way. So that's why I waited.
So why wait in a neighborhood by someone's tire?
No, I mean, it wasn't like let me explain this thing, you know, like last time. I was drinking the beer because I didn't want to be on the main street and get pulled over, fucking drinking, you know, public, and that's just, I was drinking. I was like, shit, I'm right here, because the can was right there at the corner. I pointed it out to Officer drunk.
So from where you were hanging out, just having a drink, you know, just sitting there for a few seconds, for a minute or so, is that close to the bus stop? Like you could see it from where you were sitting?
Just go out the other way and there's the bus stop.
So how were you gonna see that the bus was coming if you're just sitting there, if you can't see the bus?
I just stretched my back for you said that was it. I wasn't there to get, you know, get comfortable taking it out. Couldn't pop my bag, backpack was on, I had it on me all day. I stretched it, reached my bag. This happened.
I just, you know, I mean, I get it, I understand it, right? I think someone would say, that's a long fucking way to walk, just to stretch your back out. You know what I mean? Now, I don't think you were burglarizing the car, I really don't. You know, because you say, I didn't do it, I don't have any of your shit, I didn't do anything, so I don't think you were burglarizing the car. It was just, do you know these people that were there?
No, I don't know these people.
Okay, so these people were like, you don't owe them money, they don't know you.
I don't know them people. I don't even know what that street was called.
Okay.
I just wanted to drink my beer and wait until the bus go around
stretched my back, and I was going to hit on back. That was it. I did not expect none of this. Gone, this, that.
Do you
I
know?
did not, none of this. I was not expecting this.
Okay, what about the second guy that came out? Do you know that guy was black, white, or Hispanic?
The same.
So
Says, I don't know, I guess.
you didn't tell me what the other one was either though.
Oh, shit, I mean, 'cause I guess they white.
White, okay.
I don't know. 'Cause I mean, I only seen them after everything I broken up. He's doing the altercation, and it was number fist and on the ground trying to breathe.
Do you know which one had the gun?
No, I picked the other one on his hand.
The what, which one? The first one or the second one? The second one?
Yeah.
So the one that came out to help his buddy or whoever that person is? And
I
you
seen it in his hands, so I bit him.
You bit him? Okay. Do you know which one, you, again, I'm not saying that you did it wrong, but you know which one that you took, you know which guy you stabbed?
No,
No?
I just, it was right, I wear it on my, I mean, you know how things.
Yeah, so just clips on your belt there.
When you, it's dangerous, so I just had it right there, and grabbed it, I opened it, and.
Okay. But, do you know if you actually stabbed one of them? Like with
He
some,
said it.
with some guys like, I fucking
The
stabbed you.
knife, I heard it said, the knife.
Okay.
I mean, you can, I mean, wherever the knife cut, it is, I know.
Was there blood squishing out like in the fucking movies or
I
anything?
couldn't see.
Or you just heard
Because
them say you stabbed me?
they were on my back.
Okay, so how did the police get a hold of you?
I was on the ground.
So did they held you down or you ran away, you were hiding or?
No. When I was sitting down, and I heard, I never got up again.
Okay.
Never got up again. I'm telling you, it was a nine, that was, I don't know how long it was, but it seemed like 6 hours of just getting my ass choked and kicked and punched.
Okay, so at what point did you see the gun?
After he called for the other dude to come up.
Okay, gotcha. And then were you, where were you when you saw the gun, like as far as your body?
Yeah. I was on us, that's why I was showing us grass on.
So how were you able to fight the guy that had the gun?
And then,
But how? If you're on the ground with your stomach on, you're on the ground, like on your stomach, how do you?
because they both like on me. And then when we had the thing up, so I hold on, just like I said, like it was like, I'm on the ground, like this. The other one had his knee on me and choking me. He was doing some physical shit, that's why I seen that.
That's when it, that seems like an odd way to hold a gun towards somebody if they're on the ground and and I can't imagine that you fucking stretch all the way up.
No, I didn't stretch.
So
I had to stretch it, I was still on the ground.
And he had the gun almost on the ground.
It went up like in the air.
But do you see how it doesn't make any sense? Like if you're face on the ground, I guess this guy has the gun and now he's pointing it this way. So I would say that he's like this. That's a weird way to hold a gun towards somebody.
I don't know. I mean, all I know is that I seen it and that was it. Now I wanna see my son.
Okay, you're not.
Yeah, I wanna see my son. So, I mean, I didn't take the time to,
But but I'm just saying, like, if I told you this is like, I'm on the ground, on my stomach, then I see a gun and I bite it, wouldn't you think like, how the hell?
Your Honor, I would object to any further testimony.
Bite somebody that's going to.
All right, could we stop the video for a moment, please? We're gonna have parties approach. All right, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we're going to take a brief recess. So if I can have you all back here at 11:40. Again, you've heard some evidence in this case, but you're not allowed to deliberate or discuss amongst yourselves anything that you've heard until I give you permission to deliberate. Does everyone understand? So it's now 11:28. Hopefully that will give you time to do whatever you need to do, and we'll be back at 11:40, okay? If everyone can please stand. All right, everyone, please be seated. All right, the rule has been invoked. What that means is you can't discuss your testimony with anyone except for attorneys for the state and attorneys for the defense. If you could please just step outside for a moment, but just make sure you're around because we may need you to come back in.
Do I leave this here, ma'am?
Yes, please. All right, so I just want the record to be clear. The state offered states exhibit number 46, which is the defendant's DVD statement. And the defense had no objections to state's exhibit number 46. And so the court admitted state's exhibit number 46 without objections. Defense, there was something that you wanted to say?
Your Honor, I had not realized, because honestly, the sound quality I get when I get the electronic discovery, I didn't notice that he had requested an attorney. In this case, with this better system, I was able to identify that, and I object to any further testimony from or any further replay of this tape to the jury, because my client requested an attorney twice.
All right. So state, if you could please play for the court the section of the state's exhibit number 46 in which the defense is saying that the defendant has asked for an attorney. And for the record, it should be noted the court does not view or hear any evidence unless there's been a hearing prior to trial. So the court has not heard or viewed state's exhibit number 46 until now. So state, if you could play that portion for the court, please.
But you see how it doesn't make any sense? Like if your face on the ground, I guess this guy has the gun and now he's pointing it this way. So I would say that he's like this. That's a weird way to hold a gun towards someone.
I don't know. I mean, all I know is that I seen it, that was it. Now I wanna see my son.
Okay, you're not.
I wanna see my son, so, I mean, I didn't take the time to, you know.
But I'm just saying, like, if I told you this is like, I'm on the ground, on my stomach, then I see a gun and I bite it, wouldn't you think like, how the hell did you see the gun if you're on your back? And then how do you bite somebody that's holding a gun to you?
Did I press pause?
I've been around guns most of my adult life, all my adult life, you know, and I've never put my gun close to somebody on the ground like that. It just doesn't make any sense. I even in bullshit movies, I've never seen anyone holding the gun on the ground to somebody just like that, enough for you to take a bite out of them or bite them. That's just the part that doesn't make any sense. Like, I'm with you, whether you're defending yourself and he fucking stabs the shit out of him, fuck him, that's what he gets. You're not doing shit, you're just hanging out. But the why it doesn't make any sense is that he had the gun while you were on the ground and he saw it and now it's facing this way. That's just the only part I don't get. I don't want to put, when I do write my report, I don't want to put on there like, I don't know what the hell he was saying. He couldn't explain it to me. Just want to know what happened.
Too much going on. I was being too had to death for the first one. And he called him, and then
Had to be before this.
Okay, so how did the police get a hold of you?
I was on the ground.
So did they held you down, or you ran away, you were hiding, or?
No. When I was sitting there, and I heard, I never got up again.
Okay.
Never got up again. I'm talking, it was 9. That was, I don't know how long it was, but it seemed like 6 hours of just getting my ass choked and kicked and punched.
Okay, so at what point did you see the gun?
After he called for the other dude to come up.
Okay, gotcha. And then were you, where were you when you saw the gun, like as far as your body?
Yeah. I was on the, that's why I had so much grass on my arm.
So how were you able to fight the guy that had the gun?
And then it's him.
But how? If you're on the ground with your stomach on, you're on the ground, like on your stomach, how do you?
Because they was both like on me. And then when they had the thing, so hold just like I said, like it was like I'm on the ground like this. The other one had his knee on me and choking. He was doing some business shit, that's why I seen that. Then that's when it.
That seems like an odd way to hold a gun towards somebody if they're on the ground and you're. And I can't imagine if you fucking stretch all the way up.
No, I didn't have to stretch. So I had to stretch it. I was still on the ground.
And he had the gun almost on the ground.
It went up like in the air.
But do you see how it doesn't make any sense? Like if you're face on the ground, I guess this guy has the gun and now he's pointed it this way. So I would say that he's like this. That's a weird way to hold a gun towards someone.
I don't know. I mean, all I know is that I seen it and that was it. Now I want to see my son.
Okay, you're not.
Yeah, I want to see my son. So I mean, I didn't take the time to, you know.
But do you but I'm just saying, like, if I told you this is like I'm on the ground on my stomach, then I see a gun and I bite it. Wouldn't you think like, how the hell did you see the gun if you're on your back? And then how do you bite somebody that's holding a gun to you? I mean, I've been around guns most of my adult life.
Judge, I'm going to posit it's at internal timestamp 1:34:24. So the first time we played through, we had not yet gotten to the part where the detective is about to say, I've been around guns most of my adult life, yada, yada, yada. We hadn't even gotten to that part yet.
So where's the part?
It's not there.
So
is the
there's
state's
no,
argument.
so Mr. Young, I haven't heard where he's asked for an attorney. Is there a part I'm missing?
I don't know what you're missing, Your Honor. I heard him say at least twice that he wanted to speak to an attorney.
No, he said he wants his son. Am I?
He invokes the right to see his son, but that is not a constitutionally protected amendment.
And if that was what he said, that he's right.
Yes.
But if he said he wants to speak to an attorney, then I believe it is constitutionally protected, and we would ask that the rest of the video be excluded from the jury.
Okay, what the court is hearing is that the defendant is asking to see his son. So State, if you could play that portion a little bit louder, and Mr. Young, if you can let me know if you hear it or not, or if you hear something different, just let the court know.
We're maxed out. This is all the way. We're at 100 and whatever, 125% volume. So this is
Okay.
This is all she's got, Captain.
Can you do me a favor then? Can you put your microphone or whatever near wherever the speaker is? Well, Mr. Young, what I can tell you is I don't hear your client asking for an attorney. What I hear is him asking to see his son.
And knowing that the court is reasonable minds may differ.
No, I understand. So what I'm going to do is I am going to overrule your objection. What the court hears is that the defendant is asking for his son. The court does not hear the defendant asking for an attorney. And so I'm thinking even if he said lawyer, lawyer and son doesn't sound the same, attorney and son doesn't sound the same, unless there's something, some other word that someone can think of that would sound like son, that means an attorney.
Well,
I
no,
can't-
and I can proffer to the court that there is other contextual discussion from the defendant in this interview where he discusses his son recently being born.
Okay.
Or
So
about to be born. He actually talks about that.
All right, so I'm going to overrule the objection. The court did not hear where the defendant is asking for an attorney or a lawyer or legal counsel. The court in the audio, well, the video in the audio, the court hears the defendant asking for his son.
And I'm assuming the video and this DVD will go up on appeal, then, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
So my question is, how long is the video?
I'm gonna do my De Niro face. It's probably got at least 60 minutes of content left. I want to say when we watched it the other night, it was just about to 2 hours. So obviously we'll fast forward through no detective in the room parts, but there's at least 60 minutes of interview content.
So there's 60 minutes even without,
From here forward, there's at least 60 more minutes.
even if you're removing the part where there's no detective in the room?
Yes.
All right, let's bring the jury in. We'll listen for 20 more minutes, then I'll give them their 12 o'clock break and we'll come back at 2. And state, after this witness, do you have more witnesses? How many more witnesses are you anticipating? All right, and then that will be it. I'm trying to anticipate if we will be complete with the state's case today.
That's the plan. We think so, Judge.
Break at 12, start at 2.
So, Mr. Young,
Yes, Your Honor.
if you have any witnesses, they'll need to be here tomorrow at 10. Is that doable?
I will not have any, Your Honor.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, so we'll listen to the rest of this video until 12. Excuse the jury. The jury will come back at 2 and we'll finish with your video.
Yes, Judge.
And Judge, I think we'll be done at 2 by 4:30 if we're able to start at 2. I think if we start a little later, then.
Oh, no, we will start exactly at 2 p.m. Not 1:59 in 1 second, but exactly 2.
We're off the record. But it's on YouTube.
What do you mean when you say start at 2?
2 p.m. Oh, you guys. But it's still a great Tuesday, everyone. Yes.
All right.
Could you have your witness come back to the witness stand, please? All right, and jurors, please, whenever you come in, have a seat. We're all standing for you. And everyone, just so you know, we're going to take our lunch break at 12, and then I'll have you all come back at 2 because I have other matters to take care of. All right, if you could have your seat, please. And state if you'll continue.
And when up, like in the air. But you see how it doesn't make any sense? Like if you're face on the ground, I guess this guy has the gun and now he's pointing it this way. So I would say that he's like this. That's a weird way to hold a gun towards someone.
I don't know. I mean, all I know is that I seen it and that was it. Now I want to see my son.
Okay, you're not.
Yeah, I want to see my son. So no, I mean, I didn't take the time to, you know.
But do you but I'm just saying, like, if I told you this is like, I'm on the ground, on my stomach, then I see a gun and I bite it, wouldn't you think like, how the hell did you see the gun if you're on your back? And then how do you bite somebody that's holding a gun to you? I mean, I've been around guns most of my adult life, all my adult life, you know, and I've never put my gun close to somebody on the ground like that. It just doesn't make any sense. I even in bullshit movies, I've never seen anyone holding the gun on the ground to somebody just like that, enough for you to take a bite out of them or bite them. That's just the part that doesn't make any sense. Like, I'm with you, whether you're defending yourself and you fucking stab the shit out of him, fuck him, that's what he gets. You're not doing shit, you're just hanging out. But the part that doesn't make any sense is that he had the gun while you were on the ground and he saw it, and now it's facing this way. That's just the only part I don't get. Now, I don't wanna put, when I do write my report, I don't wanna put on there like, I don't know what the hell he was saying, he couldn't explain it to me, just wanna know what happened.
Too much going on, like I said, I mean, I've been two half to death from the first one. Then he called him, and then, it's just life. And as I seen him, I know he got good in his hand. I know he did. So I did.
But I got you, but the thing is like, if you're at a disadvantage, how do you get one up on him and fight the gun and fight him? And then how do you?
Because his hands, like behind my mouth.
But do you see how it doesn't make sense?
I was gonna bite the shit out of the other one. I was gonna bite his nose.
But you see how it doesn't make sense that the guy has the gun to you like this, so you're enough to bite him? So if he's holding the gun, it's actually the pistol grip is back here. So this is going this way.
The actual gun was pointed like, hey, I seen it. Not like it was like that. I seen it. I said, they gonna kill me. Not, it was that. I seen it.
But and you were still able to bite it off of him? Or you still bite him while he had the gun in his hand?
It was not either that hand or whichever hand I did. I know that.
Okay.
That's all like that. That's all I know. I seen the gun. I thought it was a better. And it went out twice.
Okay.
That was before the first one. The first one went out, it was close to my face area. The second one was like towards the admin part.
So, so you said the policeman grabbed the knife, they were able to find the knife?
Yeah.
And were they able to find the gun? Did you see that?
No, because I'm sitting there, once I started getting my breathing back and stuff, and he kept saying, he stabbed up, he stabbed, I'm sitting there like, they really just only concerned about that, it was 201. And that was the only concern they had. They found it, both of them, but they were just talking about I had to defend myself.
And did you tell the policeman that these guys were fucking coming at me? I had to defend myself. But they did. What happened?
They saying, bullshit, like, whatever. So, that little traffic, I said, didn't deserve that. When that thing was damaged. If I was sitting there spray painting. Peeing in their tires and some shit. That don't even deserve it.
Could you be able to, I think the situation you described to me, these fuckers overreacted, right? If you're just fucking sitting by the tire, minding your own business. So I'm with you. I think everybody in the damn world will be with you, but they overreacted, right? Could you think, like, if you saw someone hanging out by your vehicle, would you think that this guy's trying to burglarize your vehicle? Or would you be like, oh, that dude's just hanging out, having a good old time out there?
No, I mean, I would say something, hey, that was it. I mean, I wouldn't go kick nobody's ass and shit.
Or jerk on somebody, right?
And call up homeboys, and, hey, come on, help me. No. And just be like, hey, fuck out my yard. Now, if he wanted to get hospital then that's when he go. I didn't get a chance to.
I got you.
Okay, the person does not have a mark on it. I'm telling you that. By the time I'm telling you it was on. I said, damn, I don't have nothing to do with it.
Why would these guys think you have something of yours though?
I didn't get to ask him because I was getting punched.
I know. Kevin, give me 1 second. The investigator in charge, I just want to tell him what you said, and we'll go from there, okay? Grab it. Grab it.
Skipping ahead from internal timestamp 139:18 to
Investigator in charge, the one that went off the scene.
155:13.
He spoke to a person, doesn't know you, doesn't know them, right? He says that he was over there, he didn't know what the fuck was going on, so he went to go see what was happening. Said he stepped on your hand and he had the gun in your hand, and he took the gun away from you. Do you recall anything like that?
Some guy came up.
He was helping, he just went to go see what the fuck was happening, why people were beating up on each other. And they asked him to help, and if he stepped on your hand, so you take the gun. I'm just telling you what the investigator told me that went out there. And he talked to another guy, and he says, yeah, he was being held on the ground. I went over there, they said he had a gun, I stepped on his hand, said the only black guy out there, I stepped on his hand, because he had the gun in his hand. I took the, you took
I
it.
mean, it was wrestling over. So how they get in his hand? I mean, how they get in my hand, and he just like, and the other guy just like going around.
But that's what I'm asking is how did the gun get in your hand? It wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
So
it was on there and went off again. That was the last I seen him. That's so I ran my name.
Okay.
So I don't know what happened between after the second one. I don't know what happened.
So how did the gun go off then? Where was the gun when it went off?
First time it was bad. My face was close to me because it was loud in my ear. And then the second one was down.
So at what point were you arresting for the ice gun? You said you're going like this.
Yeah, because I'm trying to get it away and, you know, just trying to get away from it. That's how you have in mind.
That's, I'm just saying, I didn't speak to the guy, that's why.
I just overpowered him. Then had the gun in my hand the whole time and still getting shit choked out of me. With no bullet holes in there.
What I'm telling you is that I'm just telling you what the investigator told me from somebody else. We're just trying to piece it all together. Unfortunately, the investigator wasn't there when it happened, so we have to get piece of the story from everybody, so we can see what happens. We can see what happened. So there's usually 3 sides to every story, right? We all do it, everybody does it. What you said happened, what that guy happened, that happened, and then the truth. And it's not that you're lying, it's not that he's lying, it's just that all people, they kind of skew the story, so they can look a little bit better than what it actually happened. You know, so we're trying to figure out what happened.
What happened?
Yeah, but that other guy's in the hospital with a fucking stab wound. You know what I'm saying? So you're saying that this is what happened. That other guy's saying, I got the shit stabbed out of him. You know, like I told you before. Like I told you before, most people would say if he's defending himself, well, good on him, right? I agree with that. Person has a right to defend himself. So. That's why I guess it took so long.
Yeah, I'm sorry he's in there. I'm saying about my son. That's how I was getting black out and chilling shit out.
Yeah, he said the guy talked to somebody, the investigator talked to somebody, and he didn't say, yeah, I was choking the shit out of him. That's what, you know, that's what the guy told him. So, you know, so both of you are right. I mean, both of you are taking the truth, or at least the same thing happened, right? That he was choking the shit out of me. That's what he said. You know, but his account's different than yours. But that's how we're trying to figure out which one makes more sense. And initially, when he told me I was on the ground, I was able to bite him, and I saw the ground, I saw the gun, but I'm on my fucking stomach. Well, that doesn't make any sense to me. That's why I said, I need to know what happened so we can piece it together and see which story makes the most sense. You know what I mean? Because
I've seen it in his name. And I did, you know, something still has happened this one.
okay,
I mean, that's all I know. I mean, it wasn't that long and and a couple seconds later, That was the last I seen of it, so now.
so then that other guy that's there, that told the investigator that he stepped on your hand.
I didn't see him.
Okay,
Like I said,
did you feel anybody stepping on your hand?
it's easy from wrestling with them.
Okay,
And it, it's in my hand. It's like this. Put it on my shirt.
okay, so, okay, I'll just go tell him. Tell him he might come over here and ask some more questions. And the reason I came and talked to you instead of the investigator in charge is because he had to go out to where it happened and then he had to go to the hospital and talk to that guy who went to the. So that's why I came and talked to you. You know, I kind of don't know the story because I'm just hearing the second hand. I didn't actually get to third hand, right? Because I didn't get to go to the scene and actually talk to the guy who said he stepped on your hand. So I just come and tell you, but you know, the investigators aren't making his way back over here. So we just talked about it.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, it's already two people. One choking the shit out of him. I had no, that's why I'm like, when you said it, it's in the hospital, it's like, I barely had any, you know, forced to even really come out.
I just say it's just, I mean, that I'm with you. You know, like I said, two people are attacking. I understand you. I understand it. And I would even tell you that if someone's choking the shit out of somebody and they think they're gonna fucking pass out and die, right? Or just fucking pass out, it's justifiable to say, yeah, I had a gun and I was gonna fucking shoot that guy because he's choking the shit out of me. Now that makes more sense than I'm on the ground and the gun goes off. I hear, which it doesn't make any sense because you're on your stomach. See what I'm saying? And like you hear the shot goes this way when you tell me, and then you're bit up and then you're resting for the gun. What makes more sense to me is this guy's choking the shit out of me. I don't give a fuck. I have a gun. I think I'm gonna fucking die. And I fucking try to blast this dude, or at least scare the shit out of him so he leaves me alone. He ended up, you know, lost the fucking fight because he brought somebody else to the party. And you're still defending yourself and you fucking style. Now that makes more sense to me than the gun. I don't know where the gun came from. I'm on the ground. I can't see shit. But all of a sudden I see the gun and then I fight it and we're going forward, back and forth. You know, that's what I think happened. I think that makes sense to me. It really does. But what you're telling me doesn't make any sense. So I just want to know, like the no shit. I mean, I'm not gonna BS you I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna BS you. I'm not gonna do anything. But I'm just telling you is if you have the gun, and say you did, but if you have the gun, and if you felt fuck, I had to use it because this guy's fucking choking me. I'm gonna pass out. That's justifiable. You know, I have a habit. It's not a habit. I don't go check people's criminal history before I come in here because I don't think it's fair to them, right? I don't. So I don't know if you've ever been arrested. I don't know any of that shit. I don't know what you've been booked for. If you've been booked, I don't even know if you have a fucking Texas ID. I asked you all this stuff over here. So I don't know if something like that did happen. Just tell me, yeah, bro, fuck this dude. He's about to choke the shit out of me. I'm fucking shut him. Or I try to scare the shit out of him. Or that shit never happened. Blah, blah, blah. I just want to know the truth. So I can piece it together and say, he's lying, he's telling the truth, not telling the truth, and go from there. See what I'm saying? I'm not here to screw you over. I'm here to fucking put the piece together. So we can make an informed decision of what really happened tonight.
I was never saying, if I had it and whatever. They said burning of a vehicle. I'm still, that still is fucking me up.
No, I'm telling you.
And where, of what?
I work for, we work for the night, it used to be the night major crime center. That's all we deal with. Kevin, I'm not gonna bullshit you. Fuck murder of vehicle. I don't deal with that shit. We'll let other detectives handle that bullshit. There's only 8 of us that work at night. So we do only handle major crimes. That's it. We only handle major crimes. We don't give a shit about murder of vehicle, criminal trespass, criminal mischief. They don't waste our time with it. Because there's only 8 detectives for the whole fucking city. See what I'm saying? So if you're worried about catching murder of vehicle case, I'm telling you, you're not gonna catch it. You wouldn't be here in our office talking about murder of vehicle, because we don't waste our time with that. Here today, they got a shitload of detectives that handle everything. They have to handle the whole fucking city. So we don't waste our time with murder of vehicle.
Sorry, that's was that major crime for?
No, no, that's what we're trying to figure out.
I'm just confused, like, what?
Well, so I'm not.
I mean, it's, you know, if you have a gun, you have to stop that. How? I'm gonna blow his ass away.
No, but I wouldn't
be here to tell you right now.
But we're talking about just, okay, so let's take the whole gun out of the equation, right? Everything, just pretend no gun ever happened. The fact that somebody got stabbed, whether it's justified or not justified, that warrants us investigating. See what I'm saying? So even if you're justified, we would still have to investigate. Right?
I mean,
so I know. Yes, sir. I got it. I understand. But I want to tell you, when people hear the word major crimes, or they're like, what the fuck? So that's what I'm trying to tell you is the fact that somebody got stabbed warrants us to come out and do it. So but you're not, nobody's accusing you of burglary of vehicle. But if you got caught for burglary of vehicle, or if you tried to, you wouldn't be in our office because they wouldn't waste our time with it. See what I'm saying? So the fact that someone got stabbed, that's why you're here. Now, you're justified or not justified, that's our job to figure it out. So, like I said, most people would understand this guy's getting shit kicked out of him. He stopped at least to get him off of him. Easy as pie. We're just trying to figure out the gun part. Trying to figure out, did you bring the gun to the party because you're still trying to fucking defend yourself? And you got your ass kicked.
All right, excuse me, State, if you could stop the video.
You lost the fight, right?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you your lunch break. I'm going to bring you back at 2 because we have other cases that we're taking care of at the 1:30 hour. So please enjoy your lunch. Again, there are places around downtown where you can eat, and also there's the cafeteria in the basement. Remember my instruction, which is, you've heard evidence in this case. You're not allowed to talk to each other about what you've heard. You're not allowed to talk to anyone else about what you heard. You're not allowed to start any deliberation. Does everyone understand? All right, so I'm going to have the deputy take you out for the side door. Everyone, please rise. All right, everyone, please be seated. The rule has been invoked. What that means is you can't talk to anyone about your testimony. The only people you're allowed to speak to are attorneys for the state and attorneys for the defense. All right, we'll start back up at 2. So if you can be here at 2, sitting in that chair. All right, thank you. And just leave everything there. All right, everyone, we will be back at 2 p.m. However, the court will be back at 1:30. So everyone enjoy your lunch. I'm going to stop the live stream and we'll be back for court at 1:30, but jury